Imagine for a moment a man who seems to possess everything the world admires. His houses are filled with gold, with art that once belonged to kings. His garage is lined with cars that shine like mirrors, each one more expensive than the last. His name appears in headlines, his face on magazine covers, his words echoed by millions who admire him. From the outside, it looks like he has conquered life itself. But when the applause fades, when the noise of admiration is gone, he lies awake at night, staring into the ceiling, restless, asking himself a silent question: why does it all feel so empty? This is not only the story of one man. It is the story of countless kings, billionaires, and ordinary people who believe happiness is hidden inside the next purchase, the next achievement, the next possession. The Stoic philosophers, centuries ago, warned of this very curse, the curse of endless wealth. A prison disguised as freedom, where having everything leaves you with nothing that truly matters. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Think about those words. A person may accumulate fortunes, but if inside he still longs, still craves, still believes that joy is always just one more step away, then in reality he is poorer than the beggar who enjoys a simple meal with gratitude. In today's world, we see this hunger everywhere, amplified by abundance. How many stories have we heard of lottery winners who, after receiving sudden mountains of wealth, fell into despair, addiction, or ruined relationships? Wealth, by itself, is not a cure. It is a magnifying glass. It amplifies what already exists inside. If there is emptiness, wealth deepens the emptiness. If there is virtue, wealth can extend it outward. The Stoics understood that the true danger was not in possessions themselves, but in the illusion that possessions could heal the human soul. Consider Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. He commanded armies, ruled over millions, and could indulge in every luxury known to man. Yet his private writings, what we call the Meditations, are filled not with celebrations of wealth, but with reminders to himself that everything is fleeting. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Even at the height of power, he recognized that gold, palaces, and applause dissolve like smoke. What remained was discipline, kindness, and a sense of duty. This is the paradox of Marcus. He had the world, yet constantly reminded himself it could vanish in an instant. And in that reminder, he found peace. Now shift forward to the modern world. Picture the billionaire entrepreneur, surrounded by cameras, praised as a genius, admired for his empire. His schedule is full of meetings, his nights full of parties. But when silence comes, he feels the same burning question: have I truly lived, or have I only collected? Epictetus, who was born a slave, would have answered him clearly: freedom does not come from money, but from mastery of the self. He taught that a man enslaved to his desires is not free, no matter how many billions he owns. You are not bound by iron chains, the Stoics would say, but by chains of desire. Every new possession becomes a new dependency. Every added zero in the bank account, another fragile wall guarding an even more fragile soul. Wealth is not evil, it is indifferent. But when chased blindly, it turns into a curse. The curse is subtle because it hides beneath the feeling of progress. We tell ourselves, just one more deal, one more achievement, one more purchase, and then I will finally feel complete. But that moment never comes. Instead, We become trapped in an endless chase, incapable of enjoying the present moment, blind to what is already enough. The ancient Romans saw this clearly. Their banquets overflowed with food, their villas with luxury, their statues with grandeur. And yet they reminded each other, memento mori, remember you must die. It was not a call to sadness, but to clarity. For if death comes for all, then what is the use of endless wealth without inner peace? What good is a crown of gold if the mind beneath it is restless and afraid? Imagine a man who finally achieves everything he ever dreamed of, the mansion, the fame, the recognition. For a while, he basks in it, intoxicated by triumph. But slowly the glow fades. A terrifying silence creeps in. He realizes there are no more mountains to climb, no more next goals to chase. And suddenly, the very thing he wanted most, having everything, reveals itself as the emptiest victory. This is the true curse of endless wealth. It strips away illusions, leaving us face to face with the truth we tried to outrun. Without philosophy, wealth becomes a spotlight on emptiness. With philosophy, it becomes a tool, a servant, something to use wisely rather than worship blindly. The Stoics offered a radical solution: practice simplicity. They did not say abandon wealth entirely, but they warned, live as though you do not need it. Seneca, the wealthy, practiced living with only the bare minimum to remind himself that happiness did not depend on luxury. Epictetus, who had almost nothing, was freer than many emperors because his mind could not be purchased or broken. And Marcus Aurelius, ruling the vast Roman Empire, did not write about treasures in his private notes. He wrote about humility, kindness, and courage. The common thread among them is clear: wealth is not the measure of a life. Character is. So what does this mean for us today, in a world that worships the appearance of success? It means the true measure of wealth is not how much we own, but how little we need in order to live well. It means training ourselves to savor what is already here: the laughter of a friend, the glow of sunrise, the satisfaction of a day lived with virtue. When used wisely, wealth can serve beautiful purposes. It can fund acts of generosity, support our families, create art, or relieve suffering. But when wealth itself becomes the goal, it hollows us out. It makes us poorer in spirit than the beggar who still marvels at a loaf of bread. At the end of life, no one asks for more money, more deals, or more possessions. They ask for more time, more moments of love, more peace. The Stoics remind us that death is the great equalizer. It strips away all titles, all riches, all illusions, leaving only the truth of how we lived. Endless wealth cannot buy even a single breath when the hour comes. The curse of endless wealth is not wealth itself, but the blindness it creates. When having everything means nothing, we are invited to return to the core of Stoicism. Live according to virtue. Master your desires. Remember, life is short. The real question is not how much you own, but whether you own yourself. So let me ask you, if everything you chased suddenly appeared at your feet, would it finally bring you peace? Or would it only reveal the emptiness you've been carrying all along? Perhaps the richer path is not the one overflowing with possessions, but the one where we need less, live wisely, and treasure the fleeting gift of this very moment. If these reflections speak to you, share them with someone who needs to hear them. Subscribe to this channel, Stoic Lessons for Life, and continue walking with us on the path where ancient wisdom meets the struggles of our modern world. In the end, true wealth is not measured in gold, but in the depth of our soul.